Welcome to the Alternative Dog Moms Podcast. I'm Kimberly Gauthier, creator of Keep the Tail Wagging. I've been blogging about raw feeding, pet wellness, and life as a crazy dog mom for more than 10 years. I've seen massive improvements in my dog's health since I began raising my dogs naturally, and I'm passionate about sharing my experience to help other pet parents.
I'm Erin Scott from the Believe in Dog podcast. For more than 10 years, I've been researching and learning everything I can about healing cancer, allergies, autoimmune, and mystery illnesses in both my dogs and myself. And I can't wait to share with you everything I've learned in case it could help you too. As the Alternative Dog Moms, Kimberly and I are bringing you all the latest dog health news that we're following and the brilliant people we're meeting along the way. Now let's get started. Hello, Kimberly.
Hello, Erin.
We have guests today.
Yes.
I'm excited.
Me too.
All right. We have the founders of Woof Creek. We have Chef Scott Hill and Lisa Monk. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
I know, it's so exciting because, Erin met you guys first. I got to meet you guys second. And now you're here. And this is so fun. And you guys have the energy. I had so much fun just hanging out with you guys in that little tiny little car. I still think about
I love that thing. Little
That
clown
little
car.
I saw a video of Scott getting either in or out of it. And I was just laughing so hard.
Yeah, every time I got in and out, all I heard in my head was da 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 da. Every time.
And parking that thing was easy.
I
It was a
bet.
little zippity-doo.
So we love a good origin story, and you guys have the best origin
Yes.
story.
Definitely.
So take us back. Tell us, how did this all come about?
Well, I was born in 1968. It was a dark Thursday evening. No, babe, you
Talladega.
go. Yeah, in Talladega. Actually, it was Talladega, Alabama. That's right. I
He's
like
a
to
good
go
Alabama
fast.
boy. So I guess we could start with the restaurant business. Scott and I were running a pretty successful catering company and cafe in downtown Tampa. Just had reopened after a major renovation, working our tails off, pun intended. Or-
Tails were not wagging then.
no, it was hard life. Have either of you been in the restaurant biz,
Nope.
serving or
No, but purposely not, because I had friends and I was like, that is not for me.
Yeah. No.
I didn't think so because as she started this story, you're still smiling. So I didn't think you'd ever been in the restaurant business.
and Scott really is a culinary creative genius, I call him, and we all eat well in our house. We are very lucky that he's so passionate and selective about what and how he creates. And February 2020, we're rocking it and getting catering jobs all around Tampa Bay. And March 18th was our cater for the New York Yankees. They do their spring training in Tampa at Legends Field.
Okay.
And I don't cook, I microwave. So he saves us all from that. I did all of the back end business, account management, talking to our wonderful customers and doing catering. So I was getting 20,000 steps back then, man. It was amazing. I would cater all over Tampa, and day one of the New York Yankees cater, Scott had done this whole healthy prep for breakfast, overnight oats with all of these flourishes, and it rocked. Day two, 2/3 of the team were present. All of the management was in quarantine. Day 3, everyone was sick. And when I got back from the caterer, Scott and I just looked at each other like, I don't know if we're gonna be able to keep open.
Yeah, that was the one contract we needed to help us, especially with that renovation and everything.
Yeah, it was the writing was on the wall. Our staff was scared. Our humans at home were not 8th 8th, 9th, and 11th grade, and they were being sent home. And you all know the rest. It was COVID, pandemic, closure. It was super dark for all aspects of life for all of us. And the one thing that our kids brought to us was the grand idea that we've always had to say no to because we were restaurant people. Get a dog. You promised if we'd ever be able to be out of the restaurant industry, we'd get a dog. And Scott had always had pets his whole adult life, dogs and cats. My childhood was, of course, with pups, but I had not had an adult dog of my own. And 2 weeks of searching, hunting, rescues, we actually ended up Craigslist. It was a desperate time, desperate measures. We rehomed our first standard poodle, who is not here. Can't find her right now, but Lily Lou is a hypoallergenic, air quotes, of course, standard poodle who really did save our days for the pandemic. Scott, you want to pick up from there?
Yeah. Lily came into our lives, and truly, thinking back on it, Lisa and I call ourselves co-founders. Well, we share that space with Lily because we wouldn't have started the business without her. I think I was driving Lisa a little crazy during the pandemic, like we all were, but I was, chef brain, busy, on the go, ready to go all the time, order in, waking up in the middle of the night, still hearing the ticket machine. And she's like, you need to find something to do, man. You got to find something to do. And I was like, well, I noticed Lily has some allergies and stuff. She's got these tears. So I started doing research, and I had already been reading some articles about aptogens, and especially mushrooms and things like that. And that's where the rubber started hitting the road there. It was Lily. Before I started developing the allergy stuff, I was like, I want something to help her transition of the life she used to have into our life, something that's going to help her emotional state, her brain, and everything. So I developed our Calm support, and it wasn't like overnight. It was taking a few courses. The Dogs Naturally magazine course is the first thing I took, and then reading everything I could from Dr. Silver and Lee Carroll about our mushrooms and Joni's stuff. And man, I just tell you, I knew after developing the first product that we were on the right track. And we were able, and it's kind of like I kind of say it quietly. There's no way to slice it. The pandemic was a horrible thing, but we found a silver lining in there somehow, and we ran with it.
Actually, our restaurant was called The Bright Side. We are always optimists, but that pandemic challenged the heck out of us, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. But one thing led to another, and we got Lily back to a good baseline where we could walk her at night just by supplementing her diet, feeding her, natural, healthy foods. And then we realized that this thing might work, and we figured that Lily needed a companion other than us, something more her species. So then we found Layla May. And Layla May is just a goofball, an absolute goofball. They say poodles are some of the smartest breeds. Layla does not exemplify that. She's just an angel. She's truly an angel. I love her so much. She has a different intelligence. But that's the gist of it. Lisa just started pounding the pavement and made it work, is what happened.
I need to brag about you a little bit more, babe.
Oh yeah, go.
I need to.
We can extend this podcast as long as you want.
Erin's queen editor. So we're 5 years old, right? This month.
Yeah.
And what Scott maybe doesn't remember the details of this part, but the tear stains that Lily had wasn't the thing that we actually noticed or were even thinking about. It was New Year's of 2021.
Yeah.
Right? So we were
Yeah.
at the emergency vet. This was from November to January of 2020. Lily was chronically coughing. Now, I was biking her. You know the bike
Attachment.
yeah. And she is prey driven. So she was like squirrel chasing. I was going 35 miles an hour on a bike in my neighborhood. Luckily, no one was going to work because it was COVID. I think we could have died. But she was like fast. Her butt muscles are still like defined. Like she was like loving it. But I was scared that I had hurt, she was on a harness, but I thought I had affected her trachea. She was coughing and coughing, so I stopped that. That was, like, in, like, August or September, but she was still coughing. Our conventional vet, because I was pretty baseline, like, always naturally, geared, vegetarian, Ayurvedic geared, always turmeric, black pepper, all of those things in my regimen. Scott was always making homemade kombucha and sourdough, like everything was clean and natural for us, but for dogs, we were trained like everyone else conventionally. So our vet was saying, yeah, it could be trachea issues. Let's CT scan, scope, let's do all that. I'm like, invasive, that just like I'm a mom. Like that doesn't sound fun. But after a couple of months of continual coughing, she was sleeping less. She was eating a little less. Like she was not feeling good. And so New Year's Day, I was at the vet emergency because it had gotten really bad. And all of this overnight stuff that we had done testing, CT scan and scope, they came out saying she is completely fine. Not even that much inflammation. She has allergies. Here's some
Hmm.
Apoquel. That was it. That was when I brought that to Scott, and he's like, yeah, nah. We read up on Apoquel. We understood exactly the like immunotherapy issue. Like we were like, this is something that they're going to be dependent on. It's not happening here. And that's when Scott dug into mushrooms. The tear stains were gone at 3 weeks from the reishi in the allergy blend. And so then Scott started using Lion's Mane for the stress and all of these things started happening. But it was like an education in just anecdotal. We're looking at this happening to our own Lily. Layla, she just benefited because, we could see clearly that other health aspects were elevated because of mushrooms and these superfoods. Then my parents, who I call dog owners, can I make that distinction?
Yeah. Not a pet parent.
Not a pet parent. Yeah.
And their Cavapoo is, he has a roof and he has attention and love, but he also has milk bone, red food dye, and he has the standard issue. A trazodone pup, like they are older folks who an active breed is not the most copacetic for their situation. So they're on full trazodone. We had already started looking at salmon oil, and Scott, like he selectively sources, he started looking at salmon oil for our girls. And we then kind of insisted a little, it's hard, we don't force, but we assertively suggest we add this and this to my parents, my family, Scott's family are all dog lovers. And slowly these Mother Nature's tools are just pivotal. They just are
Yeah.
answers to how to elevate health for us all. So, 6 months later, Scott's like, hey, we're getting all of these great ingredients we could both buy. I love doing this. I love formulating and creating these things. Let's go beyond the family members and friends. And I remember, like, what was it? December of 2021. We were doing, by that time, 7 farmers markets a week. Like,
Mm.
meeting pet parents, getting this stuff out there, wanting the feedback, and wanting to help naturally. And now 5 years later, we get to talk to well, Kimberly, your Keep the Tail Wagging has helped us co-ops, your magical list of 5 state co-ops. Our pet parents have benefited from that. We share that all the time. Feed Real Institute, that was on another deeply researched blog post of yours. And that is how Scott got his second certification as a CPCN, which has also benefited our pet parent community endlessly. So I rambled.
It's okay. I mean, I'm like so excited to see it. It's funny because this industry is growing so rapidly and there's so many amazing people in the industry, but we have to filter through the people who are just jumping into the industry because it's a recession-proof industry. So it's funny because when we were at Feed Real, someone approached me and they said that they had reached out to me to see if I was interested in their treats. And I said no. And they're like, you were totally nice about it. And I was just like, yeah, because I already have treats. I don't need, I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
I don't need any treats. I don't want to take stuff from small businesses. It's like, give them to someone locally or something. And there's not much I can do with that. But, when I saw the allergy thing, because I was just in the middle of figuring out Buffy's allergies. It's one of those where, you said a little bit about your dog benefiting from what you were doing just because they were in the house. Buffy kind of benefits from everything that I learned from dogs prior, or all the dogs that I have today are benefiting. Like Rodrigo was the reason why I started Keep the Tail Wagging, and he's actually the reason why I'm kind of transitioning over to raw feeder life now. And he just, the allergies. And same thing, veterinarians, and, they know what they know. But with him, I don't even, Apoquel wasn't something that was discussed. I was just constantly sent home with antibiotics, not understanding the damage that I was doing to his system. And because that was never discussed, and I didn't know to ask the question. And I didn't have a veterinarian at the time that was even open to having those type of discussions with anyone. But I'm so grateful because I was able to do something with Buffy completely through diet and natural whole food supplementation that, a lot of people out there think is impossible.
It is all possible.
It is all possible.
We are what we eat, and so are they, and One Health, and the your guys, you and Erin, Kimberly and Erin are rabbit hole divers as you are, Scott. You are definitely. I like to stay up here and be the concierge, the translator for fellow pet parents. And what I hear is the frustration and anxiety of pet parents and what to believe, who to go to. And so we will always stay curious, knowing that we don't know what we don't know. And we'll always keep diving for more. So Scott just started a new veterinary course with Dr. Ava Frick, digging down into a hair tissue mineral analysis results reading. And Erin let me know about the animal diet formulator and that you, Kimberly, are like a
Yes.
master.
I love it so much. I was
so
working
cool.
with it this week. I mean, I am obsessed with it. It is so much fun. And that's what's
That's
like,
exciting.
like you're such a nerd. You know you're a nerd when that's your video game. When you're like, I'm bored. Ooh, I'm going to formulate some diets. Like I mean, I totally off topic kind of. I was very devoted to using a base mix because I'm like, why stress yourself out? Just use a base mix. It'll make it so much easier. But then I realized I can't keep making recipes depending upon a base mix that costs $100 for 6 pounds. And you don't have to use as much in my recipes, but you still have to use a lot. And I was just like, I doubt that everybody is doing this and they're managing to formulate a diet. And so I figured out my own base mix and it saves
Oh,
me a
good.
gazillion dollars and it's very easy to do and it still keeps the ingredients down.
How many eggs?
Yeah, the eggs. I know that's what's so funny is I had to admit because we were like when we were reviewing the Forever Dog Life books and the recipes, we're like, what's up with the eggs? Do they not know how much eggs cost? Why does this recipe, this 5-pound recipe, call for 7 eggs? I mean, I don't know, but it was like 5, 6, 7 eggs sometimes. I mean, and it was just like it felt like, yeah, basically, I'm going to go get a dozen eggs and make 2 recipes for my dogs. And with me, with 4 big dogs, those recipes would last like maybe a day. But then doing animal diet formulator, I realized eggs fix a lot of things. They cover a lot of nutrients that are very hard to fix. Eggs fix. Another thing is vegetables. Green vegetables fix a lot of holes in a diet. And it's just like, I have a friend, Brian, where whenever I'm formulating recipes, it's like, man, if Brian saw this and I'm like, I want a pound of green vegetables, he'd be like, no, that's ridiculous. But it's what works. And
They're
Yeah.
superfoods.
yeah, animal diet. It's so much fun. So much fun.
Listening to you talk about that and seeing your passion in that, it really reminds me of not until, I don't know, it really recently did I realize that I am still a chef. For a while I was like, yeah, I'm a chef that does dog stuff now and cat stuff and stuff like that. But I am still a chef. And it's that passion that you just exemplified with what you were talking about that is alive in me still, where I want to see where those greens are coming from. The eggs, and
Mhm.
honestly, I didn't know what you were talking about for a few minutes because I haven't paid for eggs in 2 years. My neighbors have 14 hens
You're so
across the
lucky.
street. And but the cool thing about that is I help feed them. I feed them stuff that I want inside me. And
Nice.
and all the way down to how we source our ingredients. I'm still thinking that I want to see the farm.
Yeah.
I want to know where this meats are coming from, or where that kelp, what part of the ocean in Nova Scotia did it come from, and where is the water? Is there a river feeding into it somewhere close? Where there's a paper mill 300 miles up the road, I need to know about. It gets a little crazy, right?
Yeah.
But when you start thinking about that farm to table, now we're thinking, farm to pet platter.
Yeah.
Shout out to Carol.
Yeah, we
And
just started that, the little
yeah,
line.
it really it's in the last couple of months thinking of it like that and how we source ingredients and applying what I know as a chef to that has really given us another another push, another level of, and all the way down to if we look at one of our products, and I don't love to do this and I haven't had to yet, but if I have to reformulate something because I find a better ingredient or there's some new studies out, we don't mind doing that either. We're
Yeah.
here. We're here for the pet parent. That's the only way we've lasted as long as we have. Only 5 years, but that's the way we made it.
I
And
think
it's
that
not easy.
there's something beneficial in staying small too, because it sort of gives you that power to be able to do that. One thing I've noticed is, you want to grow, you want to expand, you want to reach as many pet parents as possible, but there's some type of like a ceiling that kind of allows you the freedom to really do what you need to do. What I love is, and what I want to see more of is, are people collaborating with each other. Because, one of the compliments I had for Ruby about Feed Real was the fact that there were multiple brands that offered the same or similar type of supplement. So there were multiple people there that offered mushrooms, including people who were sponsors but didn't have a booth. So there weren't multiple people that had CBD oil. But no, yeah, there was, because CBD Dog Health had a booth there. And but that's the type of thing where I always believe that, one, not every brand is going to be a good fit for every dog. And two, I don't ever want to depend solely on one brand for anything. I want to be able to alternate, kind of like what, with the I saw a video of a farm where they move the animals to the pastures all around. And it's just sort of like that whole thing where you're constantly shifting and moving, and that's what keeps everything healthy and fresh and
regenerative.
Exactly. And so that's how I look at supplements. So it was such a pleasure. I mean, gosh.
Well,
And
that's
your
our
containers,
philosophy too.
Your containers are awesome. The little scoop is awesome. I mean, I just love it. And they're so generous because, again, with supplements, it can be expensive to buy something that is so carefully formulated and sourced. But your containers, I barely made a dent in those containers. I mean, I'm only giving it to one dog, but still, I mean, this is something that I will still be using this in the new year because it's such a generous container.
That's the thing, like the proactive approach. We definitely want, like, we'll tell people, you see benefit, like if you're supporting an active presentation, okay, full measure, but keeping it in the bloodstream and using it for a length of time, so you're supporting the balance of your kiddo. We want it to be affordable. We want it to be functional. We want it to be doable. And our containers, our reusable containers and our compostable refills, all of those are what we wanted for us, for our fur family. And you mentioned small. We're probably going to stay pretty boutique because we won't go into plastic. We don't want BPA touching our ingredients. We don't use fillers or synthetics. It's because that's what we wanted and couldn't find exactly what we wanted. And Scott, he's got the mind and the passion, and we'll stay that, omega-3s. We love our fish oils, but we just recently went to a phyto omega algal oil, and we have another SDA omega on the way, an ahi flower. It's all in glass. And we learned that from Dr. Judy Morgan, who offers our stuff. We're always learning, and we will never be hesitant to pivot for our pet parents, because that's what we would want for ourselves,
Well, one of the things I totally nerded out about when I got my products is that first of all, you state on your package how to start with it, to start at the smaller dose, how long to take to ramp up. You also say, this is how big your scoop is, because I have something in the other room and they send you a scoop, but then on the package it says use a 16th of a teaspoon. But I don't know. Your scoop does not identify whether that's a 16th of a teaspoon or not. I don't know. And you're very clear about that. And then you even say, for this weight of dog, this is how many days or how many, how long it'll last you. Because I feel like that's important information, and nobody ever tells you that. And then you order something online, you get this little dinky thing, and, I have 50-pound, 60-pound dogs, and then it's gone in 10 days. And I'm like, I just spent $40 on something that's gone in 10 days. That's also in plastic with a scoop that I don't know how big it is, that I'm, using other things to measure. And so it was you have addressed all of the issues that I'm normally rah, annoyed about. And I was oh my God, I just appreciate the thoroughness.
Thank you.
Okay, I heard her, babe. I heard everything she just
That
said
is
because I am usually the one that says that's too much information on the label. And for the love of dog, she is 99.9% right. The only reason we have a flea and tick supplement that she came to me and said, like earlier, she says, I'm the liaison. I talk to our pet parents. I'm out there, talking to them at the markets and stuff. And everybody wanted a natural flea and tick defense, a natural flea and tick defense. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I just don't know. I don't think
I got
it's our
scared.
biggest.
I got scared because of all of a sudden
Yeah.
things started coming out, the FDA warnings, and
Well, that's when I
I
started listening, when you started showing me videos of dogs having seizures and stuff. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'll do it for you. It's our biggest seller by far. Yeah. And then she's like, well, now we need a topical. So I had to make the spray
we
as
need to
well.
multi-layer.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
natural route.
Yeah.
And one thing that I was thinking about when you guys were talking about the packaging and staying small, we're apparently are adamant at staying small because those tins cannot be filled automatically. They have to be filled manually, and that's okay because we don't want to sacrifice not just the aesthetic, but their recyclability and everything about that. And when I was developing these products, talking about, we took everything that we liked in some of the products that were out there, and then some of the things I couldn't find, and made it into what I thought was going to be a chew. And then I started looking at chews, and I started noticing, well, um, Lily doesn't need glycerin, and she doesn't need the oats that help hold that together. And I'm thinking, as a chef, it's not going to hold together if I take those out. And I'm like, whoa, lo and behold, let's make a powder. And boom, powders are so easy to administer.
Mhm.
So the vehicle that we use, the powder, is because we didn't want a bunch of stuff in it, And I know I digress and get off topic a little bit, but I just, when I talk to folks like you and do these little podcasts and things, these awesome podcasts, I get really excited and remember why we're doing this.
Yeah. Well, the powder
You know?
mixes into their food really
Yeah.
well. I mean, I have no problem with it. And, Buffy has no problem eating it. It doesn't, like, there are some powders where it literally changes the color of the food because it's so heavy and dense. That's not the case. And I give her both. She gets both the allergy and the gut support. And she gets them twice a day because I want to make sure that it's always in her system.
Yeah.
And it's has not, and again, doing that, I still have a ton of, I barely made a dent in this can. I mean, she's only she's like a 40-pound dog. So she's a small girl compared to my other ones. But she's doing really well on it. And what I appreciated about it is that because she has allergies, most of the supplements that I'm used to giving to my dogs, she can't have, because I have one really good supplement that I'm testing out for a brand. It has bone broth as an ingredient. And I don't know the level of histamines that are going to be in that. So I'm just avoiding it altogether. I really am a big fan of fermented foods. So I've had to train, because I'm feeding my dogs, and everyone usually gets everything just in different amounts. And I've had to train myself to stop giving stuff to Buffy because there's so many and she does feel it. I mean, I can always tell if I made a mistake at night, because all of a sudden she'll start licking and biting her paws, and it's like, oh, did I give her, and it doesn't take much. It can take a small amount where it will, impact her. So it's like, I really appreciate having a product that I know that she's going to do well on, and it works. That's the thing that gets me, is that it works.
Mother Nature, man.
That's great.
She's a good lady.
We talk to, we keep saying the word supplement, and we talk to a lot of pet parents that come to see us. And I was thinking about you and how you feed. I know how you feed your pups and everything. And many pet parents will come to us with a dog that has like some serious gut issues or something. And you mentioned that your Buffy is doing our gut health supplement, and we will talk to them before we say, hey, or they come to us and they say, hey, we really want to get that gut health. I need it, man. My dog's pooping all over the yard, and can't hold anything down. I'm like, I don't think you need it right now. And
Not yet.
we break down what's a supplement. A supplement is there to supplement
Yeah.
a healthy environment, right?
Well, that's
And
why they say
diet.
you can't supplement your way out of a bad diet.
That's it. So we start there,
Mhm.
and eventually, if we can get to using one of our supplements, we do. But that is another reason why we're adamant to stay small,
Mhm.
because we work against ourselves, but we work for all these fur babies. That's who we
Mhm.
work for, and not just ourselves in our pocket, for sure. It's a hard choice sometimes, but we do it.
I get that. We touched on the sustainability and the eco-friendliness, but I was really looking at like all of the different things I have here, and I was like, they're like, I feel like that's really the forefront of your company, and I don't see that other than solutions and with what Chelsea and Roxanne are doing. They're the only other ones I could even think of that's like a main focus of their company and like a value and how they deliver things. And so I was curious, like, how I assume you have to be really intentional, like, just in your whole process of where is this going? Where has this been? What is this doing? Like, how much thought and effort goes into that?
A lot.
Well, yeah.
We're learning more and more every day, and
And I'll take it for a second, babe.
yeah.
Because actually, about every 6 months, we kind of do what we call an audit, where we dig through all the raw materials or ingredients that we're using, and we confirm that they're still coming from where they say they're coming from. And we look at the latest certificates of analysis, not of our finished product, but of everything going into our products, and make sure that somewhere along the way, someone didn't start using a weird solvent rather than an enzyme or something like that to get an extraction. And it's a lengthy process, and it makes you nervous, man. Sometimes when I can't get an answer from a vendor or a supplier, I I I'm on the phone, or I'm
What?
getting my admin on the phone, and we're bugging the hell out of people because we need to know. And I finally, over the last couple of years, have built a relationship with many of my vendors, and where I can say, "Hey, it's that time again. We're about to start bugging you for a lot of paperwork, and we're going to get to the bottom of some things." And it doesn't stop there. I go past the vendor sometimes, and in the case of our algal oil, I know almost everything I can know about where it's manufactured in the Midwest without actually going and laying eyes on the facility. I know their workflow and how they do everything and what type of water they use to bloom the algae. For me, you guys said nerding out. I like to nerd out a little bit like that. That's kind of some quiet time for me, is digging in through that. But um, it does get frustrating at times, and but at the same time, our customers, not I'd say a small percentage of them, but we do get those calls. We do get those emails that say, "Hey, I'd like to see the COA on this," and we say, "Go to the website. You can check out the COAs right there." And then they
Mhm.
say, "Well, what about the COA on the kelp?" I'm like, "All right, give me 24 hours. I'll dig it out of the files and I'll make sure you get it." So we do have some customers that keep us accountable as well.
The packaging is another thing that, like, this is a stupid little thing, but, the little scoops are so cute.
They're wooden, yeah.
They're wood.
That's all you. That's all Lisa.
It's so cute. And I kept losing the scoop. So and I love magnets. I'm a geek on, like, storage and, like, magnetic things, and we started gluing a magnet to each spoon. Yes, we would sit there and our teenagers would help gluing. After, like, 6 months, the glue, that if someone did end up putting it in the tin, we're like, "Nope, that's not okay." And what if the magnet fell into the powder? Well, that's extremely scary. So I woke up one morning picturing the little magnetic scoop holder.
Yeah.
Contribution, Lisa. Anyway, we think of these things as useful. We don't have a lot of time in the day. We want things to be efficient and functional, but we won't sacrifice on anything that we can't. Ignorance is bliss, and we can't ignore when we hear feedback. We will make the improvement, no matter how long or how hard it is. So efficiency isn't the thing for us. It's convenience for the pet parent and success for the pet. So yeah, give me some magnets. I'll play all day. That was the
Well, I just appreciate like how well thought out like every detail is, from start to finish from the pet parent perspective. And and you don't see a lot of other people thinking it through in that way. And so, I want to make sure our listeners know that.
Thanks.
That's great to hear. That's great to hear.
Shark Tank will not take us. Like we would be like,
yeah,
they would be like, you gotta go. You can't scale any of this. But what we can do is Scott and I, because we will field a question from a pet parent, and like Scott said, we will stop someone from purchasing a supplement of ours or any, and say, hey, let's give you some resources and dig in first to this and that. And it has actually created for us more of a coaching kind of platform, and more concierge for me, because I can point people to trusted other product lines and ingredients and ours if it's time. And Scott is certifying as it's a CAN.
It's just more letters. It's cool. More letters after the name.
Certified animal nutritionist.
That's it.
So that we can give more longer term support and baseline clinical data, so that our products are wonderful, and our girls are on our stuff except for our flea and tick, which is daily. All of our stuff is at like a half or micro measure anymore, because they're just not gonna awesome and peak optimal health. But there's so much more to learn, and we want to empower pet parents and guide them to resources like this podcast, like the amazing integrative veterinarians we're meeting, and Hannah Cod of Evermore. I've been calling her Hannah forever. It's Hannah.
I did too.
Did you?
Yeah, I did too.
I corrected her.
But like CBD and like the clean processing that you have to watch out for full spectrum, that we're all of the things that we're never going to stop learning, we want to keep bringing as options to our pet parents. And we're excited to keep being that liaison,
So the reason that I met them, Kimberly, is because they source their mushrooms from Real Mushrooms. And so when I was at the Real Mushrooms booth at AHVMA, Lisa came over. So
yeah.
That's right.
I just think it's a little small world. I mean, and that's how it should be. It's similar to what you were saying, but one thing that I've heard from so many people is they appreciate it when people can just say, I don't know. That people's first response isn't to sell them something or promote something, but their first response is to actually say, this isn't something that I can do. You should actually, have you heard of this company, or have you heard of this person? Because your priority is making the animal feel better rather than selling. I mean, and yes, there's nothing wrong with selling. There's no, we all have to make a living, but I think that attitude builds a level of loyalty amongst customers in an industry where we're constantly having to fact check everything that comes across us, because we've gotten to a point where we just don't trust anyone.
That's it. And like you said before, it's almost a recession-proof niche, and almost anyone can get into this niche.
Yeah. No one's watching. No one's minding the door.
And that's why it's so we're so strict on how we do it. Honestly, I've talked to manufacturers. I could probably triple production, quadruple production tomorrow, but I'd have to switch into a plastic container that fits every machine in America, and we just will not do it. We won't do it, and so we understand the consequences of that. But you know, when we see when we hear stories like yours and the tear stains have gone away, we know why we're doing it.
Yeah.
We
I
know
mean,
why we're
I
doing it.
like the fact that I can keep my tin and I can just
Yeah,
continue reusing it. I mean, I think that that's wonderful. I mean, because like with supplements that do come in plastic containers, for a while I would take them and I would spray paint them black and use them as containers for other things.
yeah,
But,
sure.
after a while,
Like,
I've
how
had
many do you
dogs
need?
for, yeah, I've had dogs for over a
Mhm.
decade. I mean, it's like after a while, it's like you have to start throwing these things out. And because I don't feel comfortable reusing them for food.
That's
Yeah,
um,
right.
I that's what I use my Classico spaghetti jars for.
smart.
Yes. Good.
That's great. That's smart.
Yeah, we're learning about the nanoplastics. Like, that's what I mean. Ignorance is bliss. It's like, as soon as we know about the level of, long term potential damage we're doing to ourselves and our pets, people, their pets, the planet. It's a slogan. It sounds great, but it's real. Like, once you know, and Scott
Mhm,
has taught me so much on this front. Like, he has always composted, and as soon as we understood like the leaching into oils that plastics purport, and our powders, we even looked at cardboard containers, which are eco for our powders, but they're too porous, and then our powders would not be moisture proof. So, all those things, we just keep thinking about what we would want for our own family and for our pet parents for families. That's the
mhm.
compass is, pointing in that direction. And if either of us or any of our team falter, like, it comes right back to remember why we're doing this. So no, that might, that, I don't know, that spout that's plastic might fit better, and no, we have to stay with metal or whatever. I can't think of a good example. Scott,
No, but I know exactly what you mean. I mean, it's just like, I've had to personally make, changes. Like, for instance, you mentioned fish oil. I have 4 big dogs. I can get, like, a 32-ounce container of fish oil and go through it just fine with 42 dogs, but do I want it sitting in that plastic container over the
Mhm.
time that I'm doing that? I'd rather just get an 8-ounce container and go through it a lot faster than get the bigger one. And it's gonna cost more because the bigger one is supposed to be more cost effective. But yeah, but it's just like those are the type of things that you do. And it is. It's one of those things where I find, which is, another reason why I adore Erin, is she's my person where when I'm talking to someone and they just do not get, yeah, they're just like, you're just too fancy for me. I just don't need, and I'm just like, no, but you don't understand, because I'll put on my tinfoil hat and take them
Yeah.
for a ride that they do not want to go on. And so I have Erin for that because she'll jump in the car and we'll go
Mhm.
together.
that's
That's good.
you gotta.
That's the whole
Yeah,
podcast.
it's a tightrope we walk. We know a lot of our pet parents don't feed or care the way we do. Doesn't mean that they don't care in their own way
Mhm.
for their pets. So we try to meet people where they are and slowly come on over, come on over. We like to say that we're on this journey with you, and we're doing that more and more, it seems. We'll always be making products and we'll always be putting out new products. In fact, I'm working on some stuff for felines right now that's in the testing phase. And, but we really do want to be a resource as well so that we can help pet parents with those serious problems, all the way to my dog's picky and they won't eat. Well,
Yeah.
let's talk about that. Or my dog, can barely walk because it's obese or whatever. Um, we want to help consult people
Yeah.
in that, and I think that's the next and hopefully one of the fastest growing parts of our business over the horizon there.
Yeah. I think it's going to be it's so helpful because there are so many things like what you said where, you want to meet people where they are, and there are so many things that we can do for our dogs that we're not doing because it's not, when I occasionally get the angry person who believes that just the fact that I mention raw feeding means that I'm attacking people who feed kibble, which couldn't be further from the truth. But even if you can't feed, raw, cooked, whatever the case may be, even if kibble is just what you have to deal with, there are things like, I'm standing outside in the rain so my dogs can walk around and sniff and touch grass and be
Yeah.
exposed to, toxin-free soil, and I'm going on sniff walks and standing there and wishing that I can get more exercise. But no, Apollo has decided he's going to sniff every single blade of grass on this trail. And it's so be it. But, those are the type of things, thinking about what cleaning products I use, because I actually do use, sadly, large plastic containers when I make food in bulk. So learning how to keep them, like, they don't go into the dishwasher. Everything has to be hand washed.
Yeah.
Because the heat is going to break down that plastic, and then paying attention to once it gets a scratch in it, it goes into the trash, and, it has to be brand new, and going through all of my stuff and recycling it and making it go away. And, there are just little things like that I think the average person doesn't think of because, raw feeding, those of us in the raw feeding community, we're a passionate bunch and we've been pretty loud about the diet. But for those of the people who cannot manage that, there are a gazillion things you can do for your dog that will get them closer to.
We call it the low-hanging fruit.
Yes.
There's so many. Just really, like, change your water bowl every day.
Yes.
Filtered water.
And wash it. Wash the water bowl. And then go through and change the actual bowl. If you can't have some type of,
steel. Yeah, we have those good steel basis ones.
Yeah. It's like, and because if you're not going to get one of those really high quality bowls, you're going to have to change because I just have regular water bowls. I change them every year and I wash them every day by hand, and I change my dog's water. Or, get a filter system and, something that's on the counter and, do some research. It's very interesting. I mean, we live in a time where information is at our fingertips. And granted, we can't believe every single thing that everyone says. But when I was curious about, the water filter system that Rodney and Karen had mentioned.
The reverse osmosis?
Yeah, the osmosis. So I went and found a YouTube video that explained like the different types and the one that you attach to your house, something that's going to be countertop, and understanding that. I did the same thing with carpet cleaners because I wanted to get a carpet cleaner instead of paying for someone to come and clean our carpet, with their pet friendly stuff, which, I don't even know what that means anymore. But but it's like, but there are videos that will tell you, they'll show that there are people who will go out and buy 10 carpet cleaners and show you how to clean your carpet. And then there are other people who will show you how to make a safer cleaner that you can use that's just as effective. That information is out there. And it's like, I walk my dogs, so that's what I listen to. I pay a little extra for YouTube Premium so you can listen to it as a podcast, and I just find what I need to know, play it, put it in my earbuds, probably giving myself some type of thing with that. And
there's always something.
Yeah, because by the way, total aside note, we're not supposed to be using the earbuds, but they've eliminated the plug for the wired ear things.
Yeah.
They're trying to kill us. They're slowly trying
to kill us.
All right, I want to nerd out on one more thing. You guys actually have 3 different omega-3 formulas.
Yes.
And I was like really excited about that. Can you tell us the difference? And is there a reason to like use one over the other in like certain situations?
Is it only 3? Is it almost 3?
It's going to be 4.
There's at least 3.
Yeah.
Now.
At least, yeah. I'll start, and then you fill in what I miss. How about that? All right. The salmon and hemp blend, we love that one. It's great. We tell folks, if you have a newborn or a pup that's ready to start supplementing, we we prefer that you take that. It's less purified. It's more in the triglyceride stage, and the GLA in the hemp is actually great for the hair follicles and can actually help with hair growth. And it's a milder, lower dose of EPA and DHA from the salmon, which is great for those young pups. The omega-3 oil, as we call it, ocean fish oil. We have 2 different sizes, 16 ounce and 8 ounce, and that is it's a typical blend of anchovies, mackerel, bunch of small fish, so it's very rich in EPA and DHA, 18 and 12%, respectfully. And that's great. That's like your everyday omega oil. It's very similar to what you might take in a capsule yourself. Great for really. It's if it wasn't so effective, we could call it snake oil, because it's one of those things that they used to sell in the Old West that says that it helps with everything. This actually does, brains, eyeball tissue, skin, hair, joints, everything that you want out of your omega-3, cardiovascular, brain. And we're also learning, too, that omega-3 fatty acids can also help feed some of the good bacteria in your gut that can also, in turn, help with stress levels as well. That's some new little studies in science out there. The next thing is algal oil. Algal oil. We love the algal oil because of its sustainability. Even with our salmon oil and or our ocean fish oil, we keep a close eye on that to see what's happening with the harvests and making sure that it's continuing to be sustainable. There were some some shortages on salmon in the last several years, but this past year's harvest looked pretty good. That's why we're still able to carry it. And the algal oil, it sounds like a mad science. It's made in tanks, but in a very clean environment. And algae is where omega-3 comes from in fish. They eat it, or they eat smaller fish that have eaten it. And so it's at the beginning of the chain of all that. And it's very potent in DHA and EPA. So a little bit goes a long way. And it is very fishy. So dogs that like an ocean aroma, or cats, really can benefit from it greatly. The next one that is not in the catalog yet, but is about to be, is ahi flower. Ahi flower comes from a weed that grows anywhere in the UK, like anywhere from the bus stop to underneath an oak tree. It's like a weed. And it's very sustainable because it's easy to grow, and they grow it in big, beautiful fields. And this has a very different, a little bit different omega fatty acid. It's SDA, and that converts to EPA and DHA in dogs and humans very well at very significant levels, and not so much in cats. So this one's for dogs, and actually I'll be using it in my smoothies too, because it's pretty much flavorless. So that's the difference. I don't know if I answered your question. I got a little excited about it. I like my omega fish oils, and part of the omega fish oil project as a whole is one of our efforts of meeting pet parents where they are. I know there's a lot of raw feeders out there that will feed fish and fish only, and I understand that 100%. More power to you. But this really helps those pups that are in households that I'm not going to put sardine on my dog's food or something. So, fish oils are great. I take them myself. Can't live without them. Love them.
And I'm a vegetarian, so I've always gone for the algal.
Mm-hmm.
And and the flaxseed, that they just don't convert for pets, for dogs especially. So the other thing that why we needed to go from one, which was our first, our salmon oil with cold pressed hemp, to a second, which was the ocean fish blend of the sardines, anchovies, mackerel, and herring, is because we just started becoming a magnet for pet parents who were dealing with intolerances. They were, the trending allergen chicken became, oh my gosh, I'm taking bioresonance diagnostics, and then deeper, I'm taking hair tissue mineral analysis diagnostics, and I'm learning that salmon is no good for my pet, for one of my kiddos. So having an alternative omega-3 was what originally started this. And then we were starting to learn about, and small ocean fish are slightly less mercury presenting. Scott always looks for the highest filtration of all of our fish oils. But then we learn of we're taking food away from our whales and our sharks. And so the algal oil was just a clear winner. And we're gonna now, for puppies, like that single ingredient, there is no carrier oil. It is highly cultivated US algal oil. And so I'm starting any like intolerant pet on the algal oil. It's so exciting to me because we don't have to deal with any elimination aspect. This is no protein. A lot of integrative and holistic vets are like, I can't deal with another protein. Our gut support, our flea and tick, they have no protein. They are vegan. And this algal oil, another vegan option, and it's just one ingredient. So to answer your question, Erin, we've got reasons for having this variety. Intolerance is the main, but also we keep in mind the diversification, which Kimberly, you brought up. You use different companies. We use different companies. We use different gut support and probiotic strains, and we use diversification of omega sources. Greenland mussel. We have that in another of our blends, our hip and joint. That's an important thing to have as a variety for a well-balanced omega regimen. So flavor profile, diversification, intolerance, we really maybe are shooting ourselves in the foot about being too many things to too many pet parents, but that's what we do. That's what we're all about, trying to really give our community something that they can trust and use for the lifespan, the long ass lifespan of their dogs and cats.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, and shout out that you use colostrum in your products too, because that is one that has always made a huge difference that in our dogs, even with the gut health. And I was like, oh, they're using that in their products. That made me very excited.
Yeah.
Erin, if you could just stop, because that's another thing I'm going to have to do now. She's coming at me with this. We need single ingredient products now. I want to have just colostrum in a jar. And so thanks, Erin.
Well, I just think you guys are doing all the right things. I think it's everything that our audience is looking for, and we're super glad to have you as a resource. And thank you for your time today.
It was lovely meeting you guys in person too.
It was super fun.
It was our pleasure.
Guys.
I want to sum it up in 2 words. I woke up in the middle of the other night, and what Woof Creek really means to me is just be useful. We just want to be useful. And for us, that manifests in helping pups and their parents. And if we can always be useful, we apply it to everything. That customer needs help. Be useful. We need a new product. Make sure it's useful. That's where we are.
I love that.
We love it. Thank you guys.
Thank you. That was so much fun.